You guys are having a wonderful day. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins, and welcome to drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent Black people. I wanted to give you a couple of updates in terms of what's going on in the stock market. Right now, there's a big deal going on with Trump and the tariffs. Trump is apparently there's a Supreme Court ruling that's supposed to happen that will affect Trump's ability to push out the tariffs that he's been pushing. If you remember, there was a day he called it Liberation Day, I think, where he issued all these tariffs against all these countries. A lot of these countries are former allies, so he likes to fight. He probably needs some therapy for that. And this is a big deal. And so, based on the Supreme Court's ruling, that's probably going to have a huge impact on the stock market. So, if you own stock, I would encourage you to be watchful of that. The Supreme Court delayed their ruling today, and that's one of the reasons why nothing really happened. Nothing really rocked the markets. The markets did sink a little bit today, largely due to the fact that there was no information. So sometimes no news is bad news. Sometimes the market doesn't like when no one says anything, right? Because then they have to guess. And when you have information dispersion, that can create natural volatility and kind of water down the values of stocks. Now, one thing I want to mention is, speaking of stocks, I want to talk about why the stock market sometimes goes up while everyone feels broke. A lot of people feel like the stock market doing well is a great indicator of how well the economy is doing. You'll hear politicians say that. They'll say, oh, the stock market's doing great. The stock market's on fire. That's so great for America. It's not always great for America. It's great for people that are investors in the stock market. The studies show that most Americans don't have enough stock market exposure to benefit when the stock market takes off. And if you want to know the factors that drive stock market prices, they're affected primarily by corporate profits and expected corporate profits in the future. That drives everything. And remember, corporate profits go up when companies cut their costs, when they automate their labor force, get rid of workers, when they raise their prices. So all these things are pro-corporation and anti-labor. And so layoffs, higher prices, tighter credit conditions for families can actually, it can hurt families, but stocks can actually go up. So the biggest thing to understand is that once you kind of realize that Wall Street and Main Street are not the same, that really incentivizes, I hope, the consideration of shifting your condition, shifting your position, putting yourself in a different spot in this economy. So that might mean actually taking ownership of some stock as a pathway to allow yourself to participate in the American dream. So if you're not sure how to buy stock, stuff like that, stick to the end of the video and I'll share a list of robo-taxi investments that I'm making right now that are going to prepare for the multi-trillion-dollar robo-taxi movement that's going to happen going forward pretty soon. What else is happening in the world? Well, another big thing that's happening is right now you have companies. You have a whole conversation about Greenland and Denmark. Denmark holds Greenland, but Trump knows he can beat up Denmark and take their island or take their country. So that's a big conversation right now. Denmark is an interesting place, I imagine, for the Trump administration, because they are not just strategically positioned, but they have a lot of rare earth minerals, which are incredibly valuable right now. And so access to these rare earth minerals is one of these things that is expected to be a driving force behind the Trump policy on Greenland. They have big plans for Greenland. I don't know what they're going to do, but it's going to be really interesting. And if they do make a move in that direction, I expect that to really rock the markets a little bit, or if they even make an announcement. Now, here's what's also interesting. So gold and silver are still taking off. And a lot of people, are like, should I invest in gold? Should I invest in silver? Not before this year. I mean, before this year, silver was a pretty boring investment, but silver's up 30% in the first 2 weeks of 2026. So silver's on fire. Gold is on fire. Did you miss the rise? Well, I don't know. I mean, because if you'd asked me 3 weeks ago, I could have said, well, you missed it, but nobody really knows. And so right now what I'm reading here is gold and silver are smashing records to start the year, with gold this week topping $4,600 an ounce for the first time ever, silver breaching $90 an ounce. The two metals have rallied more than 6% and 22% respectively just since New Year. So on Wall Street, it's already the consensus view entering the new year that gold and silver would do well again, albeit not to the extent of last year, given strong structural forces underpinning demand for both rising central bank demand and a weaker U.S. dollar, which is the dollar is going to keep weakening. The central bank, are they going to continue to demand more gold and silver? I'm not sure. Tight supply and demand dynamics, among others. Tight supply and demand dynamics. I'm not sure. I got to read more. But the nonstop barrage of news out of Washington in recent weeks, from Venezuela to Iran to Greenland, as well as a tax on the Federal Reserve. Yeah, that's a big one. That's gonna increase the price of all precious metals. Has added to conviction in precious metals as a sign of more interventionist U.S. government drive investors into safe haven assets. So here's the deal. Here's the deal with gold. Here's the reason why I'm an advocate for ownership of gold. Not telling you to get it. Give me a yes if you understand. This is not investing advice. Put a yes in the chat if you understand. I ain't telling you what to do or what to invest in. I want to make sure you're clear about that. But the reason I think that there's a case to own more gold is because gold will protect the value of your wealth. What Trump is doing right now by attacking the Fed and all this other nonsense is not healthy. It does damage and it does challenge the value of the dollar. It is something for which we will pay a long-term price. And I hope that he stops doing this because he needs to stop acting like a bully. I'm not even Democrat or Republican. Y'all know how I stand on this. I care about black wealth. I vote for black people in every election. That's what I do. I'm not out here believing that the Democrats are going to save us because they ain't never did it before. And I don't believe the Republicans are going to save us because they ain't never did it before. They work for rich people. But then again, so do the Democrats for the most part, too. They all have different billionaires they serve. So anyway, do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button. Thumbs up, share, subscribe. Harvest and Hex says, hey, doctor, I was curious if the price of gold was going up or is the value of the dollar just dropping? It's both, actually, because most assets have a value relative to something else. So effectively, it's not, but that's, I see where you're at, what you're asking. You're saying is gold itself becoming more valuable? I don't see any indicator of that. I do see lots of indicators that the value of the dollar is dropping because of certain policies. The U.S. has too much debt. Trump is out here tripping, attacking the Fed chair. There's lots of things going on, and then the stuff in Venezuela was a little bit messy. You're disrupting the global world order. The tariffs are creating instability that was going to lead to a new regime, but it's going to lead to chaos in the meantime. So I kind of think Trump should chill just a little bit, right? He's a little bit too much of a chaotic president, and I don't know if that's good for national security, nor is it good for financial security. But hey, who am I to talk? I'm just a finance professor with nose hairs, with too many nose hairs. All right. So anyway, I'm going to share that link with you for those robo-taxi stocks. I'm gonna put that in the chat. You can grab that there. If you're watching the recording, the link should be in the Q&A. I'll just put it down there. Where you make your comment, I'll just put that down there in the comments. I'll also try to put it in the description as well. And feel free to click on that link. Also, don't forget that we have class every morning at 10 a.m. Eastern. If you'd like to join us for free, I teach several thousand people every morning for free. Find whoever wants to listen and learn where money is and how to get money. I love talking about it. So feel free to text the word morning to the phone number 87948. So text morning to 87948. And what else did I see here? A couple more things about gold and silver. Global shifts. This is the CNBC. They said geopolitical shocks have little lasting impact on the stock market, with even the recent ouster of Venezuela leader Nicolas Maduro failing to phase the market. So that's interesting, right? The stock market barely moved when that happened. To be sure, the major averages are down this week amid the roil of additional political developments from the Trump administration. However, the precious metals market tells a different story, with strategists penning the recent tactical rally on growing U.S. and global instability. On Wednesday, Ulrich Hoffman Burkhardt, global head of equities at UBS Financial Services, said gold will reach $5,000 in the coming months, $5,400 in her bull case amid demand for hedges from macroeconomic and geopolitical worries. So here's what they're saying now. So to go back to your question, you said, is gold getting more valuable or is the dollar getting less valuable? I focus more on the dollar, but let's focus on gold. When you see chaos around the corner, people turn to gold because they don't know what's going to happen. Trump is the king of uncertainty. So basically, geopolitical worries, like, what's the U.S. going to do next? What's China going to do in response? How's this going to shift the balance of power globally? All these things will lead to a push towards safe haven assets. So if these things bother you, then gold would certainly be your friend because it tends to hold its value a little bit better in situations like that. She says that gold is the preferred asset over oil, which I don't like to own a lot of oil, in the event of any escalation of tensions with Iran that could disrupt the passage of oil through the Strait of Hormuz. So that's an interesting thing. Iran, they're connected to the Strait of Hormuz, which a lot of oil goes through that strait. And if they shut that down, that would be a problem. President Donald Trump urged Iranians over the weekend to continue protesting against the regime, saying the U.S. is ready to help. Dude, really? He's reportedly weighing options to take action against Iran. The oil market has been hesitant to price a risk premium in the recent past, and we expect it to be somewhat oversupplied in the first half of the year. We therefore see gold as a preferred hedge asset at this stage for its diversification potential. So what they're saying there is that gold is preferred because oil is something that may actually go down in value if the Venezuela situation increases the supply of oil. You increase the supply of a commodity, you're going to have a push down in price. So what do I think? I don't want oil, but I do want gold. I think I'm going to go buy some gold. The ticker symbol for the gold ETF is GLD. ETFs are a great way to get invested in stuff. So the ticker symbol is GLD. So you might want to add a little GLD to the portfolio just to be ready, just in case Trump keeps tripping. So you call him, we got to call him Tripping Trump, Trippy Trump. That's what we're gonna call them. Anyway, I'm gonna get out of here, guys. Don't forget that we every year we host the All Black National Convention, which is where intelligent Black people from around the world get together and we talk about Black economics, Black families, Black solutions to Black problems. It's a lot of fun. It's full of love. It's a big family reunion with a lot of smart people, cool people, people that want to be wealthy. Just the energy is amazing. We're gonna be in Jersey City this year, right outside of Manhattan. If you want to join this year, bring your whole family. You can go to allblacknationalconvention.com. That's allblacknationalconvention.com. That's right there on the screen. Feel free to grab that. Also, don't forget this podcast is on Spotify. So if you have Spotify, look up my name, Boyce Watkins. They got a couple of podcasts. One's called the Dr. Boyce Breakdown. The other's called Dr. Boyce Daily. So I don't mention it very much, but I'd appreciate it very much if you follow the Spotify podcast, because white people ain't coming to save us. So I need y'all's help. So anyway, take care. God bless you. Have a great day. I'll see you soon. Be good.